We're going to learn how to play Exhibition 20th Century. Okay, let's learn how to play Exhibition 20th Century. This tutorial exists thanks to Nick and Answer. Exhibition 20th Century. You're collecting 20th century artifacts from across the world. Whose exhibition will be the best? In Exhibition 20th Century, players will take turns taking cards and placing them in their personal exhibition, which is divided into several showcases. Players gain points by collecting cards with specific colors or years. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. At the beginning of the game, BGA laid out 6 columns of cards, with 3 cards in each column. Each card has a color and a number from 1900 to 1999. Each player gets a vehicle. In this tutorial, ours is a blue DC-3 airplane. Since we're the first player, BGA puts us in the first column, Oceania. On our turn, we must take a card from the column our vehicle is in and place it somewhere on our board. In this case, our options are 1941, 1979, and 1993. Because we have the blue plane here, and this is our column. So click on it. So that's our column. As soon as we took the card, 2 important things occurred. Our vehicle moved to the column that matches the color of the card that we took. In this case, we took a red card. So our token moved to the red South America column. A new card was drawn from the deck to replace the card we took. Let's see. Our vehicle moved to the column that matches. Okay, right here, because we picked a red card, so it goes there. Okay. Next, we have to place the card into one of the slots on our board. The slots are grouped into 5 showcases. Each showcase has 2 main restrictions. Only 1 card per color is allowed, except the 1 continent showcase. The years on the cards must ascend from left to right. Since 1993 is one of the highest cards in the game, we should put it on the right end of the showcase. Click here to place the card. Okay, that's it for our turn. Next, our opponent, the purple Titanic, will go. Next turn. Since our token is now in South America, we have to take a card from the South American column of cards. Let's go with 1913. Okay, we picked a blue card, so we moved to blue. Okay, now we have to place it on our board. Let's stick with the largest showcase for now. Again, the numbers in each showcase must ascend from left to right. Where do you think we should place 1913? The first slot wouldn't be too bad, but let's go with the second slot. Click here. Because remember, the years are 1900 to 1999. Okay, since 1913 was a European artifact, our next card has to come from Europe. Before we choose one, let me tell you about a couple ways to score points. At the end of the game, each player will score 1 point for each card they have in their largest consecutive chain of years. Each card they have in the largest group of cards of the same color. 1912 and 1913 are consecutive years, so that will get us started on a chain. They're also the same color. We could earn a lot of points by prioritizing blue as much as possible. So let's take 1912. Unfortunately, we can't put 1912 in the top showcase because we already put a blue card there. Again, every card in a showcase must be of a different color. We'll have to put 1912 in one of the smaller showcases. Size 4, size 3, and size 2 showcases have a few different variations, each with a different name and rules. BGA randomly chose one of each size and made sure each player was making the same set of showcases. So size 3, size 2, and size 4. Okay, here. In this tutorial, we ended up with one era, one continent, and years gap. So one era, one continent, years gap. Let's put 1912 in the one era showcase. Like the large one, it can only hold one card of each color, and years must ascend from left to right. The additional rule is that each card must be within 10 years of the adjacent card. You can hover over the question mark next to the name to read the details. So there we go, the little details. Okay, click here to place the card. Okay. Next turn. 1912 was a European artifact, so we're still in Europe. 1926 and 1990 would be both fine picks here, but let's go with 1950 so I can teach you about another showcase. Select 1950. The size 1 showcase over here is always called mid-century. At the end of the game, if there are any ties, they will be resolved in favor of whoever's mid-century card is closer to 1950. Well, nothing's closer to 1950 than 1950. So click here to place the card. We're in South America now, so we picked a red, and we moved to South America because it's red. Take 1917 because it's yellow. Place it here. Perfect. Great. By placing 1917 next to 1913, we secured a long stretch of 76 years for these two slots. We shouldn't have too much trouble filling them, even though they have to be different colors. However, there's a drawback you should be aware of. At the end of the game, we'll score 1 point for each card we have in a different decade. And we already have a card from the 1910s. 2, actually. Maybe it would have been better to take 1974 and place it here. Maybe. It's hard to say. Next turn, I just noticed something. There's a 4-card sequence available. 1971, 72, and 73, and 74 over here. If we can manage to get all of them, we'll be in a good position. Take 1972. Where can we place it, though? Our top showcase already has a red card, so we can't put it there. It's too far from 1912 to fit in our one era showcase. It will have to go into one of the bottom 2 showcases. Okay. BGA picked one continent for each player's size 3 showcase. Cards must ascend from left to right as usual. However, they must all be from the same continent or color. In addition, no 2 players can have the same color in their one continent showcase. The 2 cards in the years gap showcase should be as far apart as we can manage. At the end of the game, the player with the biggest gap between their 2 years gap will score 5 points. The player with the second biggest gap will earn 4 points, and so on. Again, you can hover over the question mark next to each showcase's name to read the details. If you scroll down to look at our opponent's board, you'll see they've already completed their year's gap showcase. Yikes, 1903 to 1997 is an impressive gap. That's a big gap. Okay. It's still possible to beat their gap, but certainly not with 1972. Let's put the card here in our one continent showcase then. Click here. Okay, I think you've seen enough. As everyone's boards fill up, it will get harder and harder to fill the remaining empty slots. Players will sometimes find themselves in situations where they can't place a card. If a player can't place a card in the showcase, or decides they don't want to, they will have to place a card into their depot, the 3 black slots on the right edge of the board. Each card in the depot is worth -1 point at the end of the game. In addition, cards in the depot are not considered for scoring in other categories. The game can end at different times for different players. There are 3 ways in which a player may stop playing. Number 1, all their showcases are full. Number 2, they find themselves in a situation where they can only place a card in the depot and decide to stop playing, forfeiting the chance to complete their showcases. Number 3, they have to place a card in the depot and their depot is already full. Okay. Once all players have stopped, BJ will count up the points. There are 5 ways to earn points and 2 ways to lose them, and they're listed in the player info panels. I've already mentioned a few of them, but I'll go through them one by one anyway. All 6 continents. The first player to get all 6 continents in their showcase earns 5 points. The next player earns 4 and 3 and so on. Years gap. Whoever has the longest gap in their years gap showcase will earn 5 points. The player with the next longest gap will earn 4, and so on. Our opponent will probably take first in this particular category, because remember they have 1903 and 1997. That's a big gap of years. Okay. Continent focus. Each player earns 1 point for each card in their largest group of cards of the same color. In this case, we have more red cards than any other color, so we'll earn 3 points. Number of decades. Each player earns 1 point for each card they have from a different decade. We have 1910s, 1950s, 1970s, and 1990s so far, so 4 points. Chain of years. Each player earns 1 point for each card in their longest chain of years. If the game somehow ended right now, our longest chain would be 1912 to 1913. Here. We would earn 2 points. Empty slots. Each player loses 1 point per empty space in their showcases. The depot is not a showcase. We have 10 empty spaces on our board right now, but probably not for long. Depot. Each player loses 1 point per card in their depot. These cards are not considered for scoring in other categories. Hopefully, we won't have to place any there. Whoever has the most points wins. If there's a tie after everything is added up, whoever has the closest card to 1950 in their mid-century slot will win the tie. By the way, there are 2 special cards you may encounter. 1945 is colorless, making it easier to fit into showcases, but it does not contribute to all 6 continents, race, or continent-focused scoring. Einstein is both colorless and numberless, so he can fill in any slot in any showcase, regardless of other cards. He does not contribute to any scoring bonuses, but he helps you avoid penalties for empty slots. Once you have more experience with the game, you might consider toggling secret decade cards in the lobby options. Each player will earn an extra point for every card they have from their designated decade. You can also toggle alternate rules for the 1 era, 1 continent, and years gap showcases. Thank you for playing through this tutorial for Exhibition 20th Century. If you have any questions or comments about the tutorial, feel free to send Nick and Yancer a message. Big thank yous go out to Peter Justra, Ron Van Dalen, and Corne van Moorsel for designing this game, Jenny Karas for illustrating, Kowali for publishing, John Mothra and Nelka for developing it for BGA. Have fun! Now you're ready to play your first game. I'll give it 5 stars. Thanks for watching.